Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. And this is A-State Connections on KASU and ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves, News Director with KASU Public Radio. February is Black History Month, and Arkansas State University has numerous events taking place to celebrate the observance. Joining me here today is Director of the Arkansas State University Multicultural Center, Adrian Everett. And thank you for joining us here on A-State Connections.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, I know we were supposed to originally have you on earlier in the month, but because of the snow, we had to push things back. So thanks for moving your schedule around to be able to join us here today.
Hey, I appreciate you guys hosting this show and just providing us with this platform.
So I want to ask you, for people who may have not seen you on here before, this is your second time on the television show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Arkansas State, please.
Yeah, so I am Adrian Everett. I currently serve as the director of the Multicultural Center, which is housed in the Student Union on the 3rd floor. In the Multicultural Center, we service all minority student organizations across this campus. We also provide a lot of diversity trainings for our faculty, staff, and students across the campus. And we're just a resource and an avenue for any student to come and socialize in our space and to be a part of our student organizations, as well as the faculty staff groups that are supported from our center.
Very good. Now tell us about Black History Month.
Yeah, so we're right in the midst of Black History Month. Due to the weather, we had to change quite a few events that we had scheduled during the first week. However, we did come out on the day before last Thursday and hosted kind of a social kickoff in the student union on the 1st floor, where many of our students that come to our Multicultural Center, they were able to just have some music by a DJ here locally, as well as play card games and enjoy some cookies and punch on the 1st floor. And then that was where we passed out some of our flyers to highlight the events that are taking place this month. We have over 25 events actually taking place on our calendar, and some that didn't make the calendar, but were added in the last couple weeks or whatever. And so we totally have a full list of things that are taking place this month, just to highlight Black history and to celebrate the things that African Americans have accomplished here on this campus, as well as throughout the world overall.
So tell us about Black History Month and how it started.
Yeah, so Black History Month actually was started based on African American Week. It was done in 1915 by Carter G. Woodson. He had a study and an association, and that's where it was talked about from the beginning and originated from. And then President Gerald Ford in 1976 actually made it a holiday where it was celebrated across college campuses and just across the United States, in the business world, as well as in the educational system. And so since 1976, it's become a holiday for the whole month of February, where different people highlight African Americans in different ways.
Right. And so tell us about why this designation is necessary.
Well, historically, African Americans have been looked over in many ways. And so just being able to highlight the accomplishments of African Americans throughout the world is very special to our population. And it stands out throughout the world as well, because there's a lot of accomplishments that have been overlooked in the past that African Americans have done. And so just using this month, we like to look at Black history as a year 12-month thing. However, we like to make it very special in the month of February.
And so that's going to lead to the next question is how do you work to be able to make sure that this celebration and this observance, which is extremely important across campus, is something that's not just confined to February, but is actually celebrated 12 months of the year?
So my approach in my role in the Multicultural Center is to educate our whole campus on different accomplishments of African Americans throughout the whole year. And so I've been in this role since September, and so during homecoming we were successful in bringing back a lot of our minority student Greeks that were established here on this campus in 1973. And we had, different conversations, different social gatherings where they were highlighted during the week of homecoming here at the university in social ways as well as educational ways. And those conversations have led into many other conversations, events to tie in our alums and those people that were part of Arkansas State African American history to just stay connected with the university and just provide different resources. We were very fortunate recently to get a scholarship endowed for the Black Student Association president by way of Dr. Thomas Hill and his wife. That was announced just yesterday. And so those conversations that those of us that are administrators here at the university as well as students have with some of our alums that made history many years ago, that just kind of leads into other ways that they can stay connected with the university.
So I'm glad you mentioned that since maybe some people haven't heard about the announcement that took place yesterday, kind of give us some details on the scholarship and how that came about, if you don't mind.
Sure. So I've known Dr. Hill for some years. We recognized him a few years ago during Black History Month as one of our living legends here at the university because of his role as being one of the first African-American track athletes here at the university, as well as one of the first academic advisors as well here at the university many years ago. And so he always comes back for homecoming and different events here on campus. And so during homecoming, he met with me and just kind of asked my ideas about, what he and his wife do for our campus. And it was something that he's been working on for many, many years. But like I said, just recently at homecoming, he had a meeting with us and just talked to me and the current advisor for BSA about how they can support the university and the students here. And so obviously our students are always needing scholarships. And so it was, like I said, really special for him to endow a $50,000 scholarship here at the university for specifically the Black Student Association president and then any other minority students that are part of the group. And so that just motivates minority students, specifically our African-American students, to get involved, and it helps them stay here because they have the financial means to do that.
That is such a special way to be able to show support of Arkansas State University and the Black students that are here. What a phenomenal gift.
Yes, it was
That was
great.
fantastic.
It's great. I was actually at we had hosted another event that Dr. Lily Fears led on last night called the African American Experience, based on the yearbooks from 1956 to 2013. And I attended that event and supported Dr. Fears, but then just wanting to see all the history that she had done research on, as well as our students. And it was really, really encouraging to see all the African-American history of, our first Black homecoming queens and kings, to the first student groups, to our first MPHC organizations on the campus. And having that announcement that came out yesterday, I was able to text Dr. Hill a lot of, the photos of him in the historical ranks here at the university. And so when it ended, we actually were able to send him the full video clip of the event last night. And so I know that he, as well as some of our first black faculty and staff members like Dr. Herman Strickland and Dr. Wilbert Gaines and Ms. Arlene Smith, who's the wife of Dr. Calvin Smith, were super excited to be able to view that historical presentation that Dr. Fears did on last night. And so I'm very fortunate in being able to know these people personally because I go to church with a lot of them. They're at First Baptist on Kitchen Street. And so they're definitely like mentors for me as a younger alum here at the university and for someone that has graduated and now works here. Here at the university. So I'm always, constantly just picking their brains on how things were back then to see, how we have progressed and the opportunities that I have that they may not have had many years ago.
I know they spend a lot of time with you on bringing you to where you're at today. Oh, yeah. And I think one of the main goals that we all have here is how can we pay it forward to others, specifically the students that are here. Yes. Like, for example, we couldn't do what we do here without the students that are behind the scenes that our viewers right now don't see. But they're doing a fantastic job with that. So how do you take that information that Dr. Hill and others have helped you with and be able to pay it forward in your position at Arkansas State and the Multicultural Center? Because I know that's one of the drives that they've had. Pay it forward, take care of the students and others. How does that work for you?
So it's really just being a mentor for the students, being there to support, listen, and to just be an advocate for our students. Because some of the things that they may have dealt with many years ago, sometimes are still happening even in 2023. And so it's an educational opportunity for our students as well as for our faculty and staff that may not be mindful of, how they may approach certain students or how they may judge certain students' backgrounds or their looks or different things like that. And so I take pride in offering the diversity trainings across the campus for our faculty and staff. I definitely appreciate when faculty and staff invite us in to host those diversity trainings so that we can educate them on, backgrounds and educate them on, being cultural sensitive of different people and different backgrounds, and especially my African American student population, because oftentimes, like some of our faculty and staff just may not realize that they may should not say certain things, or just being mindful of those type of things. And so, me as an advocate is definitely something that I focus on all the time, and just being there as a listening ear for our students. I'm very fortunate of being a student here, so I've sat in their shoes just about 10 years ago, being a student here at the university. And so now as an administrator, I get to, invite them into our Multicultural Center space and just talk to them about, hey, how do you feel being here at a predominantly white institution? Do you feel connected? Do you feel like you matter? And if they, say the opposite, if they don't feel like they belong or they don't feel safe and connected here, then I talk to them about how can I help fix that. And so there's, certain conversations that I can have with certain students because I've built that connection with them that a Caucasian faculty staff member would not have because they don't have that connection.
And would not understand.
And they would not understand as well. And so that's the type of things that I, talk to, like I said, the original African Americans that were the first here on the campus, and just talk to them about how they did it with students then, and translate that to how I can relate to our students here on this campus now.
We are talking about Black History Month. Director of the Arkansas State University Multicultural Center, Adrian Everett, joins us here on A-State Connections. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation, and also we're going to highlight some of the many events that are taking place throughout the rest of the month. We'll do that right after this break.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you how.
At Arkansas State, we want you to go. Go where learning soars, takes flight, and rockets ahead. Go for experiences, internships, and scholarships. We want you to go. Become A-State Maine. Are you ready to go? Go.astate.edu for details.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. And welcome back to A-State Connections on KASU and ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves. Today we're talking about Black History Month. Director of the Multicultural Center at Arkansas State University, Adrian Everett, is joining me again. And thanks so much for being here. One of the things we didn't get a chance to do in the first segment is we didn't get a chance to really go into all of the different events that are going on throughout the rest of the month. Now would be a great time to be able to do that. Let's talk about some of those events that are coming up.
Thank you. So like I said, we had a Bonner kickoff on last week, and it was a good time. The Barbershop Talk and the SAB Fish Fry and Spades Tournament will actually be rescheduled to later on this month. The SAB Fish Fry will be on February the 23rd at 5:30 p.m. at the Student Union. And that's our Student Activities Board that's sponsoring a fish fry as well as Spades, which is a card game that a lot of people play at, family reunions, and it's just a very enjoyable card game. And a lot of our students, even in the Multicultural Center, will play Spades and different card games just to kind of relax throughout the day.
Right.
And so that was something that students wanted to happen, and so that will be rescheduled for February the 23rd. Also, there will be a soul food dinner coming up this Friday night here at the Baptist Collegiate Ministry. There will be tons of food, like traditional African American foods will be there. And so one of the highlight things will be fish, but then they'll have like some chitlins, which I don't eat chitlins. I'm not a fan of that. And then like neck bones and traditional African American soul food will be served for the whole community, as well as students, faculty, and staff. That'll be Friday night the 10th. It'll start at 6 o'clock p.m. at the BCM here on campus. And it's all sponsored by the community, as well as the Strong Turner Alumni Association, which is named after the first two African-American students that graduated from A-State, Mr. Fred Turner and Mr. Walter Strong.
Sure.
There's also, next week, there's a combination of different Sigma events, which is Phi Beta Sigma, which is one of the NPHC fraternities. They'll have a church service starting on that Sunday. And then our Black Student Association will be partnering with the KLEK radio station to host a business exposition in the Centennial Hall, and it'll highlight different Black business owners throughout the city of Jonesboro at that event. And then the Sigmas are also having a community service event, as well as a tribute to Black women later on next week. And then there's a informational meeting about the American Heart Association, just making people aware of how to take care of your heart and how to eat healthier, and different things like that the Sigmas are sponsoring. There's another event called Cuffing Season, which is a student-led forum where they'll just talk about dating and relationships and different things like that.
Right.
That's been hosted by the Brother, the BSA, as well as the members of Phi Beta Sigma next week. And then they have a Black Excellence in Sports Day at the Red Wolf Center next week. And then there's a social media challenge that they will have to kind of end out the week. There's a group called Center Stage Productions that will be hosting a Once on This Island production. And it's actually being hosted at the ASU Pavilion. It's a ticketed event, and it's a full black production as well. And so that's an event, another social event for anyone in the community, as well as students, faculty, and staff to purchase tickets and attend that production. And they'll have 3 different shows, one on Friday night, Saturday, as well as Sunday. And then the following week, the ladies of the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta will host another forum called All Voices to the Table. And they have different political figures from across Arkansas that will come in and talk about some of the issues that we face as African Americans, and just educate our campus students on how we can move beyond our current issues and different things like that.
Sure.
And then to end out the month, there's 2 events. One that is extra special to me is called the Living Legends Awards ceremony, and that's where we honor different African Americans that have been living legends here at the university or here in the community. And that's nominated by submissions that went out over the holiday break and before the break. And it'll be February the 25th at 10 o'clock a.m. in the auditorium. Mm-hmm. And that's, like I said, we always like to look at people that are African Americans that have done great things here in Jonesboro for A-State, for the A-State student body, and just like to recognize them and highlight them in a special way. So this will be the 5th year that we've had that event, and that'll take place then. And then the final thing will be the Evolve Fashion Show, which will actually take place on March the 4th. And it's basically a night where the arts are highlighted. There's like models, there's different poetry, singing, and just another fun cultural event for our whole student body to come out and be a part. A couple other events that are not on the calendar that will be taking place is United Voices, which is the African American Gospel Choir. Will host an event on, I believe it's February the 28th in the evening, and that'll be at Unity Park, where they'll just be singing different gospel songs and different things like that to highlight Black History Month as well.
All right, so a full list
Yes.
of things that are going on with a couple of reschedulings, but the rest of that will be there. If you want more information or people want more information on this, where can they get all that information?
So we have it all blasted all over our social media. We have the A-State Multicultural Center Facebook page, as well as the A-State Multicultural Center Instagram page. There's also highlights of it on the university pages as well, and we have all of those events on our A-State calendar as well. Okay. Or you can just come by the Multicultural Center and talk to myself or one of the other staff members or students that are there.
You know, one of the things I know that makes this possible is when you have community involvement. It's not just a campus thing.
Definitely.
Tell us about the importance of having the community involved in these events.
Yeah, so I started the planning for Black History Month in the fall semester. I believe it was around November, actually, where we had our first meeting. And I was very intentional with reaching out to some of our community partners like KLEK, 102.5 FM, Mr. Leganzi, Kale, and Miss Allie Tabor. They were both on the planning committee just to kind of help us with that community piece that sometimes we miss out on, because our community definitely likes to be involved in the things that are happening here at A-State. And so they provided us with some of the community events that they were doing on the KLEK side, and also helped with live streaming many of our events that are housed that were sponsored specifically for our campus students, like the event last night with the African American experience with Dr. Fierce. Leganzi was there and recorded and live streamed the whole thing, so that some of those alums that do not live here locally that cannot attend could actually watch it through the Facebook or social media world. And so working with him and his team there, as well as many of our local churches are helping with sponsoring the soul food dinner through donations and different things like that. We totally reach out to them and just ask them how they can help. And then we have a lot of community people that have reached out to us and say, hey, we know it's Black History Month at A-State, how can we support it? And so we plug in different resources and different events so that we can have a full month of events.
Right. And so with that, if people want to be involved, there's still time for people to get involved in this. They haven't missed out on anything.
Nope.
How do they get a hold of you directly if they would like to be able to have a part and be able to make this better?
To just reach out to our Multicultural Center, or you can send me an email. My email is Everett, and that's AEVERETT at astate.edu. Or they can just stop by the Multicultural Center, which is housed on the 3rd floor of the Student Union.
And by better, what I mean is, to clarify, is that it's already, the events are already great in what they're doing and the mission that they're doing, but the more people that are involved in this and the more community that is involved, it is better when we're doing this all together.
Most definitely. And so anytime anyone reaches out, we literally just ask how would they like to support, and we share with them everything that we have planned, and they kind of let us know their availability, and we're always looking for like volunteers to help with like set up for like the soul food dinner and many of our events, as well as like serving, as well as cleanup. And then with our Evolve fashion show, we've partnered with like Edgy Studios, Mr. Andrew Daly, who's an alum here at the university, and he comes out and works with our students, teaches them how to do the typical model walks and different things like that, and helps us with the artistic side of things there. And he's, like I said, a community volunteer as well.
Very good. Anything else you'd like to add before I let you run today?
Well, thank you for having me. Like I said, we have a ton of Black history here at the university, which I am very proud to be a part of. And I look forward to celebrating this month, the rest of this month, and the rest of the year as well. And so we're always available to do any diversity trainings through the Multicultural Center for anyone here on campus, or even here in the city of Jonesboro. We'll reach out and support as well.
Thank you for the work that you are doing, and thank you for your friendship, and thank you for coming up here, and we'd love to have you back anytime. Bring a student too.
Sounds good.
We'd love to be able to do that. Adrian Everett, thank you so much for joining us. Well, that'll do it for this edition of A-State Connections. I do want to thank my guest, Adrian Everett. Also want to thank instructor of creative media production, Galen Perkins, and his amazing students who are always behind the scenes running the show. We couldn't do that without them, so thank you. Also, thanks to engineers Derek Herring and Clayton Holderfield for their help, and thank you for watching. Don't forget, A-State Connections is heard every Saturday morning at 11 on 91.9 FM KASU and streaming on the KASU mobile app. So long, everybody.